Hey guys, Irene here, and I am going to discuss something that's been on my mind. And it's also me. Like I'm writing my book, and I'm trying to really be detailed about it. At the same time, it's just I'm still dealing with certain angers myself, but I'm trying to go through this in a psychological way of understanding because this is something that most people don't really understand: the nature of dealing with personality disorder individuals who lack a lot of self-esteem. And when you're dealing with people who lack a lot of self-esteem, they're not willing to do inner work. They blame other people. They don't want to see reality for what it is. And this can be a problem because reality sucks sometimes. I know, I've been there. But reality does help when you want to put things into perspective and really gain and put and really help you really see things for what they are. People say, oh, you need to be optimistic. I'm like, yeah, there's one thing about being optimistic and being realistic. When you're being realistic, you see the situation for what it is and trying to fix it as much as possible. And that's what adulting is. But what happens if you deal with parents who are making you feel worse than you need to be, and you have to act like a parent to parent to your own parents? It makes no sense. And every time you make a decision, what they end up doing is making you feel bad about the decision that you make. It's like, I don't have time for this anymore. And so for me, I lost my car back in 2015. I haven't been working 4 years, which I have to go back to work. I have no idea how to solve this problem because without transportation, especially when you live in the suburbs, it makes it hard to adjust to situation circumstances. And I need to get this solved soon because I have no idea what to do. My son needs to go to daycare or preschool. I asked for help with that when I found a job. I'm asking for transportation wise, and also knowing the fact that my son is a 3-minute drive transportation where 3-minute transportation to daycare from from where I am located with where my parents are located. And it's like, are you serious? Are you fucking serious? Like, I don't need this one. I have things I gotta do. I don't have time for the bullshit. But they like to make things more harder than it needs to be, and it's kind of like, it's a very simple solution. Why do you have to make it more difficult than it needs to be? And it's just very oh, sorry. So I had to really understand the nature of dealing with such individuals. When you're dealing with personality disorder individuals, you have to understand that they have made your life a living hell. You have to understand that they have no idea who they are. So what they end up doing is projecting their needs and wants onto you as if you are responsible for them. And you're not responsible. It's a reversed aspect that they do. They have children because they have learned. Because what I've learned from my own grandparents is this: when my grandparents used to live with us, my mother was a surrogate parent to her parents. So she's expecting us kids to be a surrogate parent to her, and it's a very difficult situation. And I realized that this is not a healthy thing. You're playing victim to situations and circumstances that you created in some ways. When I lost my car in an accident, I was like, fuck, I need to get this solved. I gotta really do what I gotta do. And when I, try to get my money back, my parents took my money, bought kitchen appliances and a grill with it, and I was just like, shit. What am I supposed to do? Like, how am I supposed to make this happen? One thing I realized: never co-sign a car with a parent, with a parent, because they will take your money and make it their own. They claim it. A lot of Asian parents do this to their children, and it makes life so much harder because they don't like to give things out of the kindness of their hearts. They give it. It reminds me of Harry Potter's aunt and uncle. Okay, it reminds me of that, except it's my own parents. It can make you feel quite uncomfortable. It can make you feel quite as though there is something wrong with you because you are frustrated, you're angry, you had enough of the abuse, but they continue the abuse because they don't see it as an abuse. This is the problem with personality disorder individuals. They don't see your situation as an abusive situation. What they're doing is abusive. And this is why we have to understand and acknowledge what abuse is, and this is what abuse looks like. So when we understand the nature of abuse, we have to really understand what is the cause of these situations and circumstances. What is it that you have to do to make the changes? Because sometimes when you're dealing with these types of people, you have to understand why they can't make your life better. They make it like harder than it needs to be. They make it look like you're the one who's the problem. They make it sound like everything is your fault, but they don't realize how they contribute to the problem. And because they don't realize how they contribute to the problem, that is when the bigger problem comes into place, because they don't see themselves as the perpetrator. They see them as, oh, I'm the poor little me victim. No. Okay? No, 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 no. This is when you have to stop the abuse. You have to understand where you learn to behave. Because I've learned a lot of my behavior traits from my parents, and because I've learned a lot of a lot of patterns from my parents, I'm like, oh fuck no, It's a God honest truth. This is what they end up doing. They keep you stuck for their own benefits. They don't want to help you transition out of that. So this is why infantilization does exist. A narcissistic family of origin, they use infantilization as a way to keep you stuck from actually moving forward in life, to make you feel like as if you're the incompetent one. And because you feel incompetent, it's not your fault that you feel incompetent, because it's the situation, circumstances that was given to you that you have no idea how to change. This is why you have to do the inner healing work, just to get a better sanity out of it, because sanity is very important. I had to understand when it came to my own child what I can do and what I cannot do. This is why when I was 4 years really working on myself, because when I saw these patterns of behavior, I'm like, oh crap, there's something wrong with me. It opened my eyes to things. It really opened my eyes to seeing things effectively. It helped me to see things, objectively. And I had to really understand that, you know what, I have to really do this for myself if I really want to get the healing that I need to move forward here. Is this an easy thing to deal with? No, but it does help to put things into perspective once you understand the nature that, oh, I have dealt with parents who are abusive. And abusive parents are not the easiest type to deal with. They need to be in control at all times. It's about making sure that things go their way, and then make sure that, nothing ever is about to change. You cannot change these individuals, but you can change yourself on how you see and perceive the situation. And it can be very difficult, especially when you want to move and progress in life. But they make it impossible because they don't want to see themselves as a perpetrator. This is why emotionally immature parents are not very good at being parents. This is why I never want to become a parent, because of the fact that I have a lot of immaturity of my own that I haven't dealt with, that I have to face. If I don't face them, it can be a big problem for my own son. So this is why it's so important to do the work within you, so you can get better perspective, to really see things clearly and be like, oh shoot, I do have this problem. Oh man, I do have to really work on this. I have to really make the changes here. And once I really understand that, I'm like, oh, well, what can I do to make this better? It's about honest evaluation. The more honest that you are, the better you are off to change this circumstance. So that's something I had to really understand, because I had to really, dive deep, because I have been dealing with this, and I'm trying to figure out how to get somebody to help me, because it's just not easy, because your friends can only help you so much, and they have their lives, but you don't want to burden them either. And it's like, what am I supposed to do? Because I am losing my mind. This is why I have the drive again, just so I can progress and move forward. When my parents took 16 grand and bought kitchen and girl, it just made me more stuck. I'm just like, oh my God, I'm dealing with parents who make life more difficult than it needs to be. And people don't understand when it comes to personality disorder what they look like, because sometimes they may not have noticed they were abused themselves because they were able to get out of it. But there's someone like me who had to go back into it, and it was just like, what am I supposed to do with this? I had to learn things the hard way, because I had to learn things how to manage my own income. No, because no one told me. My mother was like a child in an adult body who freely spent on money. She's on credit cards. Okay, this is why I don't do credit cards, because I realize the amount of debt that people get into when they use credit cards a lot. Even if they pay it off, credit cards are biggest, I think, liability than actually assets. Unless you have a lot of money and you can pay it off, then do it. But she was using my dad's money. She was not making money of her own. And knowing that she was not making money of her own, the money my dad was making was going to her. And so it was like having like, my parents' relationship was like more kind of like adult-child relationship. It was like having three children in the house, one adult, and that was my dad. And then my grandparents moved in with us. When they moved in with us, this is when the dynamics changed, because my grandmother acted like a child sometimes, yet acted like an adult in certain situations. It was very confusing, because I was like watching my family and how this all played out, looking at my behavior patterns, because of what I've picked up on, and I realized how this really affects the entire family system. It's fucked up. It's dysfunctional. And when I understand the dysfunctionality of the situation, I was like, oh shit, no, I cannot do this to my kid, and I cannot do this to myself anymore. And it's really hard, because right now I'm trying to find more freelancing work, trying to get that sorted. And it's getting harder and harder for me to find work. And I'm like, if it's this hard to find work, I'd rather just go back to work and do what I gotta do, And it's just like, I can't seem to find more work than I need to be. And and the freelancing work doesn't always give you the money that you need. And it can be very small to very minimal, tiny to something big. It varies. So it's never really consistent. So it's kind of like, what am I supposed to do with the situation that I'm in? And I haven't been able to find work within a couple months now. So it's just like, okay, what am I supposed to do with this? It's a reality check for me. It was a huge reality check when I had to really understand the nature of this. And I went to, I'm trying to learn how to do better for myself. I'm trying to be a better I try to be more responsible with myself. So I can see why people say I was being lacking responsibility, because my parents always had to control everything. Therefore, I did not know what to be responsible for, because my parents expected me to be an adult, but yet, you know, didn't trust me as much. Because I know what, I don't know how to show trust. If you're not trusting me, I won't show trust back. That's how it's given, okay? How am I supposed to trust you if you don't trust me? And if I give you information, how am I supposed to trust that? It doesn't work. So I have to be very honest about what is going on here and really understand the nature of everything that goes on. It's not like, oh, you can solve things. It's just, no, you have to work things out to make things happen. And I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? Like, they try to treat me like they treated me and my sister differently, like back in the day. And so what my parents did when my sister was around, it's like they tried to use Munchausen by proxy on me, trying to kill me off. And it's very difficult. I was about to go suicidal because I was so tired. I was like so exhausted at the fact of how they were treating me. And it was just to the point where I was just like, what's the point of me being here if I can't speak my own mind? Like, if I can't talk about what's going on? And I've been shunned by them. That's pretty much what they did. They shunned me out just so they can have their own true peace in. And I had to really understand the factors of this, because it still makes me emotional to this day, because I don't get why they keep punishing me if it's not working. It's not. And it's just, it makes no sense why it's like, no matter how much I try to prove myself to them, it's never good enough, because these types of people, you never want, no matter what you try to do, unless you make billions of bucks, that's when they come after you. If you're not making any money now, what often ends up happening, they will use that against you. It's like narcissism. That's what narcissists do. They crave people and attention. So when you make a lot of money or do something, they will use that to their advantage. And because they will use it to their advantage, they say, oh, I'm going to use what you have, and I want that, you know? So they would try to take what you have, of you earned, and make that as their own. And this is the problem with narcissism nowadays. You see that with Donald Trump, okay? Donald Trump used his platform as a presidency for his own use. And this is something that we have to understand the factors of. This is how narcissism is created, because the fact that we don't understand the nature of who we really are. We use platforms like being president as a way, as a crutch to make our need, you know, as a way to shun the small people. And it's just like, oh, you serious? This is why Trump is getting impeached. He is going to get impeached, and I hope he does, because he's an idiot. I'm sorry. He's not cut out to be a president. But it's just really understanding the nature of really seeing the situation for what it is. And it's not like, oh, you are because you can't. It doesn't make, it's really hard to get out, because people say, oh, why? Because if you try to leave, they will try to bring you back in. They will use any legality. They will make sure that you look like crazy. They'll make sure that you're the one who's like deranged. And they are very good at it. And if you don't handle this in a mature manner or with your emotions, what they will do is use that against you down the road. So they will find any circumstance. This is why once you get out, go no fucking contact. Because once you go no contact, you have a better chance of having better solutions. This is why they love bomb you. They don't want to give you what you need. They will give you little pieces here and there, but they won't give you everything that you need to actually produce the lifestyle that you want. This is why I struggle with my mother in particular, because I get so annoyed with her, because I don't have the patience with her anymore. You're an adult. Stop acting like a child. Grow the fuck up, okay? I don't have time for that. It's like trying to teach an adult who already knows these basic needs to really understand the fact that, okay, you can't eat chicken? Fine, don't eat then. I'm sorry, but I am done. I don't have time for this anymore. You want to have a relationship? Let's have a relationship, but let's make it mutual, because I am done. I had to set these rules with her, even if I live in her own house, because it's driving me nuts. And I'm like, what do I do with this? How do I solve these state of mind that I have? This is why in the summer and the spring, I go for long walks. Not only that, I get my exercise in. If I don't, I will lose my cool. I have to get my life back on track. And it's really important to me. And if I don't, how am I supposed to do anything? I cannot. I don't know what else to do. So I'm a go-getter. I'm a type of person who is just trying to move forward here, but I have no idea how to make that happen if you're dealing with parents in situations that makes no sense. You know, when it's just what it is, and I had to be very honest. If I'm like my mom, it's like, if she asks me a question, I will answer. But if you want, like, look, you can go check it out for yourself, because you know what? I'm not gonna answer a question that you can look for. No. Because you just want what she wants is something to come easy for her. But when someone asks for help, she refuses it. That's how I've grown up. I'm like, okay, If that's going to play, I'll play the same game and see what happens. Because in the fact that you want things to go your way, I am not Diane. I am not my sister. So you know what? You have to stop doing these behaviors. I am not going to feed into that little pity party that the little child is broken. Okay? You have a broken childhood. You need to go fix it. I can't fix that for you. All right? It's time to woman up. If you have a problem with something, go look for it. Wonder why there's a box on the table. Go find it. Wondering why. Like, you got to think things through. Don't be impulsive and ask questions that you know the answers to. All right? And that's something I had to really understand and put that into perspective. Is this an easy thing? No. But it really does help to have that in the end. So that's something I had to really understand when it comes down to these types of people. It's not like, oh, I can just walk. No, it's a complicated situation, and it's like, what am I supposed to do with this? How am I supposed to deal with this? It doesn't work the way you think it's going to work, and it's like, how am I supposed to change this if I can't? So it's like a mind-boggling situation. I don't know what to do with. So it's just really understanding, what do I learn from this? How do I go about this? And I had to really just work it out and journal it and really see things for what they are. So that is something I had to really understand. Anyways, I hope this video helps for anybody who needs to watch this. And subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you guys next time. Have a great day, guys. Hope you guys have a great one.